Hey guys, today I'm very honored to interview Todd Park. And Todd Park, for you guys that don't know, he is an American entrepreneur and technology leader known for using data and innovation to improve healthcare and government services. He served as the Chief Technology Officer of the United States under President Barack Obama from 2012 to 2014, where he helped drive efforts to in open data and digital transformation. Before his time in government, he co-founded the healthcare technology company Athena Health, and he later returned to the private sector to continue building companies focused on improving the healthcare system. Again, thank you so much for the time today, Todd. Um, and just to go straight into the first question, you've had a very unique path from building companies to serving as the US CTO. And how did your thinking about impact and scale really change through those experiences?
Well, first of all, Daniel, it's great to be here with you. Thank you so much for
Mhm,
doing this podcast series. It's a great question. So my life's work has been innovating to advance the public interest
mhm,
uh, across sectors, the private sector, the
mhm,
public sector. And what I've learned over the years is that there's actually a core pattern of action, a very entrepreneurial
mhm,
pattern of action
mhm,
uh, that really works well
mhm,
in terms of generating impact, whether it be basically building companies in the private sector or making something happen that
mhm,
is positive in the public sector. And you basically start with a mission that you believe in with all your heart
mhm,
that can impact the public in a deeply positive way. You put together a small team that's
mhm,
incredibly capable, that is deeply diverse, and is mission oriented to the core, right? Really motivated by the heart at the core.
mhm,
And you pursue a pattern of action that really focuses on rapid iteration and learning. The
mhm,
faster you can learn, the better.
mhm,
To basically continually update your assumptions about everything, and on the basis of updated assumptions and updated learnings, to build the thing from the
mhm.
ground up that is going to have the impact that you really want. And I
I
found
see.
that's a pattern that really works well, really across
Mhm,
sectors
mhm,
on any mission that is fundamentally innovating to advance the public interest.
mhm. Oh, wow. And, you know, thank you for the answer. And after public service, right, what made you, I guess, as I described about you earlier, what made you want to come back and really build devoted health?
It was really just a continuation of the work of my life,
Mhm,
and Devoted is actually a company that my brother Ed and I
mhm.
um, have been dreaming about, I think, for
Yeah.
for decades. And
Mhm,
in a very real sense, everything we've ever done, right, has been
mhm,
a lead up to prepare us to build Devoted. And
mhm,
so in 2017, he and I co-founded Devoted together.
mhm.
We'll work on it until God takes us home, as they say.
Yeah.
And it's also the case that my brother and I built Athena Health together
Mhm.
with our close friends. And I spent 11 years with him
Yeah.
building it.
Wow. Mhm,
Then I went to go serve in the American government for 7 years, and he stayed
mhm,
at Athena.
mhm,
And In 2017, we reunited. And kind of long story short, on top of really wanting to build Devoted with him
mhm,
as a collective dream. I just missed him a ton.
mhm. Yeah. I can
Uh,
see that.
so,
Yeah.
so we like to say that, like, half the reason we started Devoted is just so we could hang out all the time and work
Mhm.
together again.
Oh.
And that's truly a core reason
Mhm.
on top of all the other reasons that
Oh,
we
yeah.
started doing together. Yeah.
I mean, yeah, that's a great story, and obviously, what you're doing is so important. And these days, American healthcare is still frustrating for many people, right? And so, what do you think right now is most broken, and what do outsiders, underestimate about fixing it?
Yeah, I mean, I think the most important thing to understand about the issues with American healthcare is that it's a multivariate problem,
Mhm,
right? There are problems with how it's paid for. There are problems with how the care delivery is structured. There are problems
mhm,
with underlying technology and data.
Mhm.
and the entire kind of mode of operation of the healthcare system. And that is not the fault of the doctors or the nurses
Mhm.
in
Mhm.
the system. I mean, my wife, as you know, is a doctor, and she's
Mhm.
better at everything, right? American doctors are the best doctors in the
Yeah.
history of humanity.
Uh-huh.
But they're
Yeah.
living in a system that, for a bunch of historical reasons, is deeply incentive misaligned, information poor,
Mm.
fragmented, uncoordinated, non-prevention oriented, non-consumer centric, non-whole person oriented.
Mm.
And as a result, Americans just don't get the right whole person oriented, prevention oriented care up front and throughout. And because that's true, they experience way too many catastrophes that
Mm.
result in hospitalizations and surgeries and other events that should have been avoided, right?
I see.
And so what you want to do is you want to move the country's healthcare system toward a paradigm which is the opposite of all the brokenness. So one
Mhm.
that's truly whole person oriented, prevention
Mhm.
oriented, highly coordinated, personalized, proactive, and consistent.
Mhm.
One that gets people care upfront throughout, right? That is the right care for them that keeps them as healthy and well as
Mhm.
possible,
Of
and which
course.
also has the property of then reducing cost a ton because you prevent the need
Mhm.
for going to the hospital or surgery, et cetera. So,
Mhm.
in other words, the kind of care that you want for your own mother, father, sister, brother, daughter, son.
Mhm.
And that's the kind of care that Devoted has been built to deliver and delivers to a growing number of folks across the country.
I see. And to still talk about healthcare, right? There's so much AI hype these days, right? And everyone's using AI. And so in the healthcare, where do you personally see this real near-term value? And where do you think people, need to be more careful?
Well, from just a hands-on perspective, with respect to
Mhm.
the things that we're doing at Devoted, AI is incredibly powerful,
Yeah.
right? Incredibly powerful,
Mhm.
and we're seeing this in the unleashing of the power of AI in our work.
Mhm.
It's impacting everything we do.
Mhm.
We built a purpose-built for healthcare AI
Mhm.
orchestration and execution core in the heart of
Mhm.
a software platform that runs.
Mhm.
And so we're seeing it radically reduce administrative cost and hassle,
Mhm.
dramatically boost the personalization and excellence of service, and
Mhm.
huge increases in the efficacy and efficiency of
Mhm.
clinical care, uh,
Mhm.
and just really accelerating our ability to build and iterate
Mhm.
in the interest of delivering ever better editions of the care you want for
Mhm.
your.
Mhm.
And I think the thing that is important to keep in mind is that at the end of the day, to actually do things like that in healthcare or really in any industry, it's incredibly important to have built the right governance, the right
Mhm.
workflow data
Mhm.
infrastructure, right, the right guardrails, the right channels through which to actually leverage the power of AI. If you don't actually do all of that incredibly hard work in the trenches, right? Then
Mhm.
AI is not going to be super duper helpful to you
I see.
in ways that are
Mhm.
practical, right? But if you do the
Mhm.
hard work
Mhm.
of governments, governance, workflow, data,
Mhm.
infrastructure building, right?
Yeah.
Then it's like going from a world that didn't have electricity to a world that does, right? It's like
Yeah.
it's that
Uh-huh.
big of a deal.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
It's game changing, world changing for the public interest in a way that's
Mm.
deeply profound.
Well, yeah, I mean, I totally agree with you. And thank you so much for your insight on AI and healthcare and kind of just shifting now to, I guess, your Korean side, right? You're obviously Korean American. So how has your cultural background or identity really shaped the way you think about, leadership, work, and even service?
Yeah, I mean, incredibly proud to be Korean American.
Hmm.
Mom and dad came over in the late '60s to the U.S.
Mm.
With basically nothing, and my dad got his PhD in chemical engineering at the University of Utah,
Wow. Yeah.
and my mom studied there as well. And then they settled in Michigan, then Ohio to
Mm.
his family, my brother and I.
Mhm. Yeah.
And I think, there are two things that really come to mind as I reflect on that
Hmm.
experience of being Korean American and how it's shaped everything my brother and I.
Hmm.
So one is, yeah, I think that immigrants are really the ultimate entrepreneurs, right?
Hmm.
And so you often come to America with very little, and then you
Hmm.
build something meaningful from nothing, right? Which is really
Yeah. Uh-huh.
entrepreneur, right? And like I tell my mom and dad, like whatever Ed and I do in our lives, it
Mhm.
can't remotely compare, right,
Yeah.
to what they've done
Mhm.
in coming to America with basically nothing and then building
Mhm.
a life
Mhm.
for our family and accomplishing incredible things. And I think that that has deeply influenced my brother and I in terms of how we think,
Mhm.
right? I think this a second thing that comes to mind is that our family loves America with an incredibly deep passion.
Mhm.
I think we understand as a family how special America is.
Mhm.
And I think that's something, again, that immigrants, you feel very deeply.
Mhm.
And my parents always talk about how special America is, uh,
Mhm.
and that love of America has um, been inculcated very deeply
Mhm.
in my brother and I, and that's something
Mhm.
that we carry with us everywhere. And
Amazing. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. I mean, very moving. And I guess also just Todd, when you're talking about this whole Korean American and just growing up, right? And growing up, did your experience, I guess, with education or also with expectations, right? Whether from family or culture, did that really influence the path that you chose?
That's such an interesting and great question. It's interesting. Now as a parent of two
Mhm.
teenagers, right? You really understand the advice that you got, right?
Mhm.
Not being a parent from other parents that your
Mhm.
kids don't listen to what you say.
Yeah.
They absorb
Uh-huh.
what you do, right?
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
reflecting on that, with respect to my own parents, right?
Hmm.
So my mom was just and is just
Hmm.
unconditional, infinite love for my brother.
Hmm.
And basically doesn't have expectations about what we should accomplish
Hmm.
or
Yeah.
we should do. She just loves us
Hmm. Yeah. Uh-huh.
without preconditions of any kind. With
Uh-huh.
this gentle, infinite, profound love that just
Hmm.
suffuses every fiber of my brother's and my being.
Hmm.
Like
Yeah.
we're made of her love. That's who we
Hmm.
um, God's love for every human being
Hmm.
on this planet, as
Hmm.
uh, channeled by my mom, right?
Hmm.
So that unconditional love has really shaped my brothers and my life, right? And then my
Hmm.
dad,
Yeah.
um, just works unbelievably hard, like
Hmm.
incredibly hard, right?
Hmm.
And he had a multi-decade career at Dow Chemical Company as a chemical
Hmm.
engineer. He has over 70 patents, like the most patents of
Oh,
anyone
wow.
Dow Chemical, except for like Dr. Dow, the founder of it.
Yeah.
And he doesn't brag, doesn't boast,
Hmm.
doesn't pound his chest. He just works
Hmm.
incredibly hard and
Hmm.
does great things. And he retired a while ago, but he's still working
Hmm.
hard.
Oh,
Just
wow.
that's a
Yeah.
Jackson.
Uh-huh.
And so that I think imprinted deeply on Ed and I, right? We just
Hmm.
worked incredibly hard. Not
Hmm.
not because our parents told us to, not because
Yeah.
they should, but because that's basically the kind of wiring I think that
Hmm.
imprinted in us. And
Hmm.
so that incredibly, just multidimensionally deep work ethic,
Hmm.
uh,
Hmm.
combined with unconditional love,
Yeah. I mean, yeah, hearing this,
is
it's, yeah.
that's I think what our parents, um,
Hmm.
as amazing Korean immigrants,
Hmm.
who raised their Korean American family that way, that those are gifts that
Hmm.
parents gave
Yeah.
us, but
Uh-huh.
by showing, not telling.
Yeah. Uh-huh. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, just hearing this and seeing, all the important work that you're doing to really help society. I mean, I think it's truly, truly incredible and truly moving, Todd.
Oh,
And
thank you, man.
yeah. Um, and for young people, right, especially with those immigrant backgrounds like you who want to work on meaningful problems, what advice would you give about, balancing ambition, their own personal identity, and also just taking those unconventional paths?
It's such a fantastic question. So I think the advice I would give is don't
Mhm.
overthink it, right?
Mhm.
And like I've never had a life plan. I've never had like
Mhm.
a complicated evaluation mechanism to try to
Mhm.
think up what I should do next, right? I just
Mhm.
fall in love with missions,
Hmm.
that I believe in to my core,
Hmm.
and fall in love with human beings with whom I
Yeah.
can work on those missions.
Hmm. Hmm.
And I just work on missions I love with people I love. Uh,
Hmm.
and then once that mission's completed, like any given mission's completed, then I work on the next one.
Hmm.
The next mission I truly love with people I love.
Hmm.
And so my advice would be follow your heart,
Hmm.
and do what your heart tells you to do. Uh,
Hmm.
and if you do that, then you cannot possibly go wrong. And
Hmm.
whatever happens, you'll never regret it, because you'll always be doing something that you love with people you love. And at the core, I think of a life well lived is
Hmm.
love.
Hmm.
Love. Um, and bring more love into the world, which
Yeah.
all great missions really are, right?
Hmm.
Um, and uh, and doing it with people who are or become
Hmm.
threatened to you. Uh,
Hmm.
so that would be the advice: is
Wow.
feel your way into.
Wow. Yeah, what great advice. Yeah. Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Well, again, thank you so much for the time today, Todd. I feel like you've really said so many significant messages and telling your story about how you got here. It's truly moving to hear that. And so, I mean, thank you so much for the interview today.
My pleasure. Thanks so much for doing these
Yeah.
podcasts. They're
Uh-huh.
they're
Thank you.
fantastic.
Yeah. Thank you, Todd.